Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us.
Dr. Del Rosario, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being with us. First of all, tell us about your organization. What is it exactly that you do at Recapturing the Vision International?
Recapturing the Vision is a really multidimensional organization. We're about investing in people and teaching people to be successful in whatever area of life that they might be in. So a part of that is working with youth and children. We work with also families, married couples, couples that are struggling, single parents. In school districts, we establish programs that teach character development, morals and values, conflict resolution, just the whole package of creating an entire person that can compete in a global society. So we're investment programs dealing in human capital, teaching people how to be successful.
Well, wonderful. Let's talk about marriages today and how to make those successful. I've heard that you say that the typical American view of marriage is way different than what God intended it to be. So let's start with that. What, in your opinion, is God's vision for marriage?
Well, I think God's vision looks a little different than what we have learned of marriage from romanticizing it on television shows and movies. It's really not as much about the romance as it is about purpose and as it is about love and meeting at a certain destination in our purpose and our destiny. So I think that God's purpose for marriage is to bring two people together that are going to work as life partners and that are also going to begin to birth into the universe a group of offspring that their perfect DNA was needed to bring about. And it's also about breathing into those new individuals your vision for life, your morals and values, and your purpose, in the kingdom of God.
Well, most of us start our marriages thinking that we have exactly that view, that everything is perfect and it's going to last for eternity, and yet so many marriages fail. Why is that? Why do so many couples get divorced or separated?
Well, I think it's because of the same things that we just began to talk about. People have the wrong conception of marriage. They don't understand what it takes to make one work. Listen, we're taught how to read and write in school. We're taught even how to drive, open a checking account. But we're not taught how to choose a suitable mate, how to make a marriage work, and we're not taught how to be parents. And those are two key areas of our life that are paramount importance, and we're just not educated. So I believe that there's nothing wrong with the institution of marriage. We just lack the relational skill sets to negotiate it. So that's what I'm here for. Through our University of Marriage, our Marriage University, and our Best Marriage Keys, and Recapturing the Vision, I'm teaching young people, I'm teaching married couples, I'm teaching people that are in the market looking to get married. What are the principles? What are those 7 pillars that you need to build a marriage that can go to distance? And then how do you maintain it and how do you keep it strong throughout the duration of your life?
Well, you have identified 10 faults, 10 records that lead to failed marriages. Can you walk us through some of them?
Well, there's so many different things. We know that some of us are going to be lucky enough or fortunate enough to choose a good mate, but that's just not enough. Once you get a good thing, you got to keep your good thing good and got to keep it going. So there are certain things that will wreck that relationship, such as just one simple one, unmet expectations. When we come to a marriage, we already have this visualization of what it is we're looking for out of that relationship. All too often, though, a lot of times we don't communicate our expectations. And then when they're unmet, we're disappointed and we're upset. And that can lead to a wrecked marriage. So unmet expectations, that's one.
What about continuing to grow? How important is that?
Well, that's extremely important because guess what? You're not the same person you were last year. And if I'm married to John, neither of us are the same people that we were when we first got married. I've been married for 24 years, and trust me, I've changed quite a bit. But it's evolutionary. Everybody's evolving and growing through our daily activities and daily experiences. And so we have to accept change, but we also have to make sure that we're changing for the better. And that as our mate is changing, that we're changing in a way that is harmonious, that we're changing and growing together for the better.
So if you have this kind of scientific approach to marriage, is there a formula on forgiveness, for example? Is there a formula of who comes first, who takes the blame, who says, I'm sorry?
Oh, I hope this doesn't get me in trouble, but I actually do have a couple of formulas for that. I believe that a lot of times people get into the tone. I believe whoever drew first blood bears a responsibility of bringing resolve and healing to the situation. So that means if I was a person that drew first blood that caused you to be upset or hurt, then the onus is on me to apologize. The onus is on me to make that right. And I think I also say, forget the tone and atone. So a lot of times the person that has been victimized, they're upset. And sometimes their tone might be a little off. And then the person that drew first blood might be concerned about their tone, and they kind of get lost in the situation worrying about their tone. Instead, let's worry about atoning for what we did wrong.
If only we can, the person who actually drew first blood could realize that he or she was the initial problem, because a lot of the time, you try to get into the root of the conflict, and it's the bottomless pit.
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy, but I think that if we have to, first of all, ask ourselves, are we trying to be right, or are we trying to resolve an issue? And so I think that when people become defensive, a lot of times it's either because of past wounds that they've suffered, or a lack of trust or fear, or it sometimes can be that, the whole issue's gotten convoluted and we're trying to be right instead of resolve, as I was mentioning. So I just think that there's a way to get to the root of a problem through just, sheer discussing the issue honestly and expressing, when you do this, I feel like, or this is what I'm looking for, and I'm just not sure how we can get there. What are your ideas?
Yeah, and probably picking the right time too, picking your battles. Maybe not doing it right at the heat of the conflict, but waiting a day or so to bring it up.
Absolutely.
Also, I wanted to ask you about forgiveness, and then is it okay to sometimes walk away from the problem, having it unresolved, just for the sake of keeping peace?
That's a tricky question, so I'm going to answer it in several parts, okay? So if I'm having a conversation with you and I just decide to walk away, that's inappropriate. If I have not said, you know what, honey, let me cool off. Let me take some time to think about that. Is that okay? And then walk away from the relationship, from the conversation. It's improper to just, leave without having that little closure discussion about it. If I'm now saying that I need some time and I might want to calm down or cool off or just process, I don't know if you know it, but science shows that men take longer to process. So if I'm the woman and I'm talking to my husband, honey, you did so and so and it's really bothering me. A lot of times the man is listening, and it almost seems as if maybe he's not paying close enough attention because he's not responding in kind to you, because they take longer to process. A woman's brain has 3 to 5 language centers. A man has only 1 to 2. So there's a processing matter that might come into play. So I think that that's appropriate. If they need to process or think about it, give them time to do that, and then come back. And they might even, while they're cooling down and thinking it through, they might decide, this is really not that big of an issue. Maybe I was more involved in it or upset because of something that carry over from yesterday.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. The next day, I knew I had to talk to him about something, and I just can't remember what it was. Well,
I love what you're saying.
You've been called, and you're known as America's marriage doctor. You heal families. Have you had many fatal illnesses, so to speak? Like, do you have families that are just, the illness is incurable, you can't do anything with them?
I have had a couple that it looked as if I wasn't going to be able to address their problem in a way to resolve it, avoiding divorce for a while. And I work with them, say we would work together for a couple of months, and then they would, go on their own, then they'd come back a couple of months. But I found out that they actually worked it out anyways. What I find is that sometimes people aren't to the point where they're ready to follow instructions and do what they're being told to do. But I believe that if 2 people are really wanting to work something out, there's nothing that you can't solve if you just have the desire to work it out. And with that comes, I think, a dedication to the process of working it through. But so I find that if a couple does not, adhere to, suppose they have homework to do, I say, hey, I want you to come back for our next session. I want you to think about X, Y, and Z, and this is going to be our discussion. Have for me 2 points that you've kind of thought through in your responses. And they don't do that. Or I say, could you read this information? I think that shows a lack of commitment. And only in situations like that does it seem to take more time for the couple to find resolve. But I believe everybody can work something out.
Yeah, and there is always hope. Well, before we run out of time, I want to ask you if you can give an advice to a couple who's listening and watching right now, and whether it's Valentine's Day, whether it's birthday, you know, those special occasions, they're special, and yet sometimes you may feel it's fake when somebody's asking you out, or he's doing it for just because everybody is. Well, a couple that is struggling right now, how can they celebrate that special occasion in honesty and with trust, and how can they rebuild that special something between them?
You said a mouthful.
I know.
Here's my first thought to couples everywhere. I would say when you find someone to love, recognize that it's a rare thing and it's a gift. Love with everything that you have. Love like you're loving for the first time. And also, don't wait until your relationship has problems. You maintain your car, you take it in for a tune-up every year. Do the same thing for your marriage. Always go to a marriage coach, a marriage counselor, just to deal with unresolved issues that might have taken place over the course of that year. I think that counseling or coaching, any type of marital intervention, even if it's a marriage session or seminar, do those things to maintain your good thing and keep it running well. And for those people that are looking for love, as we approach Valentine's Day, I would say, don't put everything on one day. You know, you don't rise or fall whether someone buys you a bouquet or asks you out to dinner. We're to love every day, as Jesus did. And I think that loving daily versus trying to save it all up for this one momentous demonstration is the better way to do it. Learn to love from your heart, and love regardless of faults or wrongs done.
Well, that's beautiful. Where can we get more information about what you do and maybe get in touch with you?
Well, you can go to my website if you're trying to get in touch with me or develop a session with me. You can go to drjackie.com, and that's Jackie with a Q, JACQUIE. And if you're looking to do a marriage quiz, you want to find out if the person that you're with is a good mate, go and visit me at www.bestmarriagekeys.com. There's a free compatibility quiz, which is really 80% of the equation. If you're looking to get married, if you find someone that's compatible, you found a suitable mate. That's 80% of the equation of a healthy, happy marriage. So you can go there, you can take the quiz, and you can also find help for learning about how to do this thing called love and relationships.
Well, thank you, Dr. Del Rosario, and happy Valentine's to you.
Thank you. Listen, I'm wearing red. I'm so happy.